Hey, I got something to say. I'm just so sick of hearing everyone complain. I know it's tough and I know there's pain, but hitting bottom is the only way to change. So I'll keep hustling, you keep struggling, bitch, I'm humble.
Welcome to CryptoEMC, everybody. My name is Rudo, known as the Chart Artist. With me, Trade Buddy and co-host Fibonacci Lee. How are you doing, my friend?
Welcome. How are you, Rudo?
Have you recovered from your headache?
It's kind of, yes.
Kinda. Okay, so Friday we went kind of deep into legacy market stuff that does impact the way that our crypto markets function. And today we are not going to be as in-depth as the last week, but there's a few big things that we need to discuss. Now, as we started to stream in true StreamYard fashion, my internet signal went up. So, Lee, can you see my screen? Let's start there. I'm telling you, Lee is conspiring against me. But okay, let's give this internet a time to actually restart everything before I logged on, just to make sure, and it's still doing it. So it's definitely something to do with StreamYard, I believe, because everything is fast this side. But excuses aside, we gave you guys a setup over the weekend on Twitter, and I assume as well in the premium group for buy for Bitcoin. It ended up playing out quite nicely, and TP2 got hit a few hours ago. And we also have additional updates on that. What's Bitcoin going to do next, possibly, and how should we use that? So that buy came with a nice free DCA scalp strategy that I want to share with you guys today, internet permitting, and as well as DeFi. Now, DeFi was probably one of the first big catalysts right at the beginning of the 2020 Bitcoin rally. You know, everything that moved first was DeFi. And then from DeFi, it kind of went into, what was it? NFT stable and NFT.
Gaming.
And then gaming came. And then once everybody was nice and full with portfolios filled up to the brim, the whole thing came down. So now at this stage, gaming kind of, tanked quite severely, quite quickly. Didn't have a lot behind it other than people wanting to hold. And there's still a lot of development that needs to happen there. So nobody really, well, that I know of, got wrecked through gaming. NFTs as such, NFTs is art. So it didn't have real function other than you're looking at the picture. And obviously there's a lot more to it than the simple way that I put it. But there's nobody that I know of, Lee. And do you know of anybody that got wrecked in the NFT space?
I think the NFT market is also going down. What is worse, maybe 400 ETH is still worse 400 ETH, but the fact that ETH is down or Solana is down, it is worthless, yes.
Yes, it's hurting you. Okay. But now with DeFi is a completely different beast, because people went and put their life savings in to get the yield and so forth. And if DeFi starts wrecking people, it creates a disastrous wake behind it, where people are losing life savings, people losing their income, and so forth and so forth. So subsequently, the DeFi and what the additional liquidations with companies like Celsius, companies like Sol Lane Protocol, and so forth, where there's a lot at stake, can really implement or implicate the way that the crypto market's going to move. Now, before we dive into all this in big or greater depth, there's something that we need to just take in mind, is when you have a hyper adoption or a network effect happening in a space, what that means is that there's a lot of growth and a lot of value added to whatever you're investing, due to the fact that a lot of other people are jumping in and adding value to that protocol. Now, the sad and the true reality about that is, because the substance, the business behind it, that question you always need to ask yourself, where does the money come from? If that question isn't properly addressed within the business model itself, you run the risk that when the sentiment turns around and people want to vacate, you'll have that same network effect in a reduction in value, because what created the value was the people. If the people goes, the value will go. And that's currently, I think, what is happening with a lot of projects out there. So we need to look at that as well and see how that negativity will impact the good ones, because there's good and there's bad, and then obviously there's the ugly. So Lee, we need to dive into that. You ready, buddy?
Yes. Show me the good ones.
You said I must show you the good one. Can you see my screen? As soon as I want to bring my screen, it still doesn't allow me. Okay, so good ones. Well, good one will be Bitcoin. Isn't Bitcoin a good one?
Oh, I thought you were talking about DeFi.
I'm reserved on that. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Know when you're in deeper waters than what you're comfortable standing in, and then learn and immerse yourself into that. And trader, this is where I'm going to be kind of pulling the Lee side to it. Lee, I can manage risk, I can invest in something, and I can get out in time. And for me, I was kind of using that as my benchmark with a lot of things. But that is not the case for everybody. So good projects, I don't know. Maybe, and this is sad and it's ugly in a way, maybe we need this so that the good and the bad can get separated from each other and the ugly can die off. And that's the part where there might be a lot more fear and a lot more negativity running towards Bitcoin at this stage. So I'm going to ask Lee again. I'm going to throw you under the bus again, buddy, because I'm going to try and restart my router yet again, to see if I can get my internet to allow me to share screen. And so I'm going to ask you to just maybe have a look at Bitcoin. Let's look at Bitcoin, the weekly close, because there's some significant data there, as well as what we can expect today. And hopefully by then, I can solve this monkey that I've on my back that I experience as soon as we start the stream, that it starts giving me troubles. And then we'll take it from there. So over to you, buddy.
Okay,
Your screen is shared.
My screen is shared, yes. I think you can see my screen, right?
I can see yours.
Screen?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Cool. Then it's working. Weekly candle. Yesterday we closed with another big weekly sell-off. We just opened this weekly on a little bit of hope, a little bit of hopium. What I can say is we did notice that Bitcoin went back to test this 786 level of the fib, almost close to the dollar. And that was just, for me, a reaction. When you come back and touch the 618, we had a reaction and we bounced back a little bit. Now we did wick to the 786 level from the March low at 3,782 to the all-time high. So I had this fib lie down on the charts for quite a while, and we just touched 786. We had a reaction up. Is it the time to call? And Bitcoin has bottomed yet? It's way too early to call it. We have none of the evidence that the bottom is there at 786. If you lose that one, if you are working on the fib, the next level would be 11,151, and you're gonna see later on the show that this kind of level, is gonna coincide a lot of other DeFi protocol liquidations. And so on and so on. So yes, we had a little bit of hopium here, a little bit of bounce, like I said, but really too early to call the bottom here. Can we bounce back to 28, 26 level? Yes, maybe, but for that, for me, I'm gonna get a little bit more bullish when we go above 23K, especially this level here. And if you want, at least if you're gonna move back this level a little bit, will be 21,365. If we are trading on a daily, we can always keep those daily candle on watch, and then move every time we have a higher low. And now today we made a higher high. Follow this trend until we lose this momentum and make another lower low the next day. We are coming back to these imbalance areas that we had in the past. So for me, bullish above 21,365, but there is a supply zone at 22,000. So really turn bullish at 22, 23. That will be a key level for me to turn this bearish momentum a little bit more bullish. And to give us maybe a little bit of this relief bounce that we're waiting from the 618 level. Now, with that level hold, we will go back to 618 again. Even that 618 level at 28,695 is a little bit too early to say that we're going to bounce back here. But for now, let's hope that finally we're going to get a bullish week for once. Are you back with us?
I hope for a bullish week. The reason being is, look, nothing goes down in a straight line or up in a straight line. So some sort of a bounce is good, because I want to short. If the trend continues, I need to have a larger time frame reason to get a short in. So, and we're still owed a proper exit liquidity situation as well. Where everybody thinks it's over and then it comes and smashes their hopes down. Because if everybody thinks it's over, and we're kind of at that stage where everybody thinks it's over, it's capitulation, dead cat bounce, or whatever the case might be, they're going to be willing to buy again or say, well, I held through the dip, so it's okay now, And then it's not true capitulation. And a capitulation event needs to be formed with, get followed by projects deleted, projects gone, that type of stuff. Because if you think about each and every winter that we went through, projects were launched and then they die, and then people give up on and blame and say it's a joke, it's a Ponzi, and so forth. And we're kind of not in that space just yet. Look, it's an opinion. Take it as you wish. That's just mine. And
for me, my strategy about this exit liquidity level will be, come back to this 49.58K. That will be the 618 if we have a bottom at that level, which is, not confirmed yet. But if you have that, we can come back to this 618.76 level at 49.58. But again, if we go lower, we have to reassess this level. Like I said, every time, Bitcoin bump, I always said it's going to come back to the 618 level. And the reverse theory of that also works. When we have a big dump and big sell-off like this, price used to tend to come back to the 618 on a bounce back as well. So on a bigger time frame, if you can hold that, you are already in a drawdown, you're already holding those tokens. I would not settle for, especially Bitcoin. The strategy is to buy if it goes lower, but if you really want to sell and get out of this market and reassess the portfolio and so on, my strategy on the long term is to reassess my strategy when it comes back to 50K, 58K.
That was kind of the way that we looked at it. We were looking at the big picture and our invalidation. For you guys that's been following us, you've been taking the journey with us. At least none of the CryptoEMC guys are stuck in with a buy the dip scenario without any risk management or any guidance around when the invalidation of that dip happens. And I think that's the one thing that each and every one of you guys can be proud of, because you have had all the ideas, you've had all the invalidation levels, and at the end of the day, whether you act on it and how you act on it is a completely different thing. And that's the one big rule for every trader and investors. A good day is actually not whether you make money, is whether you stuck to your game plan. That's a good day, because your game plan is the proven way to do it, not your opinion of the day. And that's kind of where I'm at. Lee, let's test and see if my screen can share. Are we gonna try that? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Thank goodness. Happy days, guys. Give us a like, because our internet is working while you're at it. I really appreciate that. Lee, so this was the trade setup that we did short term. So the idea was to buy between 18.5, 18.150, stop limit around 17.6. And the way that I worded it out is I'm going to start taking scalp entries with wide stop losses and using the bounce, to sell into the resistance. So I'm not going to try and hold for long-term swings and although we just spoke about major upturn and areas where we would want to look at big picture, exit liquidity, but I want to use the profit that I'm making out of this trade setup to leave it in Bitcoin and then start dollar cost averaging. But now I get to dollar cost average for free. So say you don't have a lot of money, and the big picture and the problem that you have is with dollar cost averaging is maybe you've got to divide your portfolio into 5, the money that you want to spend into Bitcoin. Now, after 5 dips, and it keeps on dipping, what then, And this way you get to do it with profit. So you get to take risk. You take the profit that you would have made. So you basically sell back to dollars with what you had when you started, and the remaining money you leave in Bitcoin, free DCA Bitcoin. And you can keep doing this until we find a bottom, wherever it is. And also what we added is I'm only shorting after you have a multi-day uptrend. But then we can go big, because then we have the continuation of the trend short that's playing out. So that's something interesting. And then obviously subsequently that played out over the weekend. We did have a little bit of a moment where it fell through, but that's why I had my stop limit at that range. And what I liked was when that tweet came out, Lee, I got so much hate mail from everybody on Twitter, funny enough. And that just, I was watching the qualifying of Formula One while I was managing this, and I was thinking to myself, this is going to work, because everybody is hating me for how can you be so stupid going along. And yes, we hit TP2. So free DCA money, and whoever took that trade, that's it. And I hope that there's a valuable lesson there. If you were one of those haters, trading has got nothing to do with an opinion. When we have a look at large time frame analysis and we try and predict or give an estimation of where it can go and how far can it go, that's opinions, guys. And you can have your opinion and call me an idiot for having that opinion. But when we look at a buy setup, there is no opinions involved. It's a set of steps that both me and Lee follow. And we look at it and say, well, if the setup is present in the charts, this is how I need to take action. Sometimes it gets stopped out. Other times it makes money. Same setup today than we used the last time around. Last time it failed. This time it's making us money. The reality is, if we look at that and we back calculate, the setup gives us a 70% probability that we're going to be in the money. 70% means that for 30% of the time, these setups are going to cost you. And that's why your risk management just needs to be done accordingly, or else.
Sometimes we miss it as well. There's no entries or no TPs. All right.
Yeah. So you can't fault us for that as well, because that does happen. We do not move the market. We just look for a sequence of events, and then we just say, oh, I want in at that range with a proper stop and a proper risk management in place. So if you guys got the trade, let me know in the chat, and well done for those. And I hope for anybody else, look, it's a tough space out there, especially if you're losing money, especially if you got wrecked. So people want to vent. And if they need to vent, what can I do about that? At the end of the day, losing money or being in the wrong side of the market is a stressful, painful place. And each and every one of us needs to take our own journey. And sometimes it's at the expense of somebody else. But the reality is we're always going to be here. We always want to do things, I won't say correct, because we don't know what is correct. There's no guarantees. But if it comes with proper risk management, the end of the day, it's up to you. Okay, so Lee, buddy, now let's talk about this tweet, if we may. So our buddy Miles, I like this tweet because he basically said key liquidations to keep your eye on at the moment. And the big thing is obviously Celsius. Now, I don't know if everybody knows what's cooking on there, but Celsius. But if Bitcoin goes to $13,600 a Bitcoin, Celsius has got a huge fund that's going to get liquidated. Now, here's the article that I found on Celsius. And subsequently, obviously, this is kind of like old news now. Celsius stopped, people withdrawing their life savings, stating that they first need to figure out their liquidity. And then obviously subsequent, the same is happening for the Sol Lend protocol as well, where if Sol goes below $22.3 a Sol, 20% of that whale's collateral will get liquidated, which means that we need to ask ourselves a question, and that's kind of where we are now with what Bitcoin is doing, is if DeFi, Lee, sparked the big beginnings of the bull run, and let's just speak the way it is. Bitcoin has never been in anything else but a bull run, but okay. If Bitcoin sparked the big momentum, maybe it's necessary that these funds and the ignition or the catalyst that ignited this move needs to get punished as well before we really get a bottom. How do you feel about that, though, Lee?
I kind of agree, right? I think those guys has played the games that they maybe underestimate the market a little bit. I think like hedge fund, but never knows about hedging. Basically, from what I understood, they are taking people's money and try to trade it or outbid the market because they promise like 10%, 20% return, on the investment. And you have to ask yourself, where is the money coming from? When there's no more new people coming in and buy those kind of stuff, and they want to trade it and make that return for the guys. And if something goes wrong, it can go wrong like really quickly, right? And to make more money than people are expecting, the only way to do it is maybe to leverage it, and without hedging sometimes. So I don't know if those guys are really good traders. Majority of them are developers, I would assume. They would give it that money maybe to somebody else to manage it or to trade it for them. I don't know what's cooking at the back, but kind of risky, yes.
You're always going to be looking through a window into what they want you to know. That's the reality. That's why after the thing collapses, you get guys like CoffeeZilla. I mean, I love that channel. They put out the Celsius story, and go and give it a watch. It basically just gives you all the things in a nice, good 20, 30 minutes. And then those people stuck inside, they normally can come out and explain to you how things are working and why and so forth. But prior to that, you have to say that it's really impossible for you or even them to know whether it's really a scary thing. And that's the thing. So that's the part. So if you got trapped in one of these projects, we all have done that once or twice to ourselves, get into it because the information is limited. And a lot of these projects launch and their success is based on the belief and the credibility of somebody or the fact that the whole community believes in its credibility. So who are you to doubt? And that's just a tough lesson and a good lesson, I think, for everybody. Because the beauty about crypto and the volatility about crypto is if we get it right the next time round, anything that you might have lost now is going to be recovered and some again. That's the key to this thing. And then going forward, always ask yourself the question, if you do not have an ability to know where the real money is coming from, and it's vague, and it's based on the fact that the network is growing, and you have a situation where if more people join, it's going to be great. You have to understand that that's going to end at some stage. Nothing and no condition lasts forever. This too shall pass, for that matter. So on the way down, guys, if you're running through and you're getting stuck in one of these projects, note that this too shall pass. This also will end up, and at that stage, a good bargain will be around. And with a little bit of money, you'll probably be able to buy the same amount of coins that you had, and you maybe acquired at an insane price, and then you're sitting pretty. And then next time, you will have the ability to say that if I don't have my money in my own control, I have no control over my money. That is what crypto was there for. That's why there's good projects like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is actually the simplest business model out there. In essence, everybody has control. And as soon as you start bringing more parties and more people into what you have, you open yourself up for a situation where this can happen. So with that said, Lee, now we've got these liquidation levels, and we can start looking at these. And the worrying fact that I have is, if you're a big player and you really want to start shaking people out of the market, and now you know where their liquidation is, if the order book gets thin enough, what are you going to do?
Well, if I have all the information, it would be much easier to trade. Right? If I know that there's so much money to grab at that kind of level, and I need to spend that much to go to that level, it's just simple math. Is it a profitable operation or not? Right. So it's if the book is open and you need that kind of money to push the price down to that kind of level, I mean, for me, if you have a big player and money is not a problem, I mean, that would be the easiest strategy to apply.
Simple as that. And they might just go and get it. So look, let's have a look at the charts. That's what we're here for. We look at charts. So let's talk ETH, because if we look at this tweet, we've got ETH AAVE on AAVE lend. If ETH reaches 895%, 141 million gets liquidated. Now, if we go back and we start looking at Ethereum, and we gave the setup and we basically explained this a while ago. You can see that we are trending strong. We've got these supply lines, and the area that we're looking at is right at that range. So if you think about it, if price goes down and you look at this reality of where we're looking at, this is probably what's going to happen. So a lot of people are sitting around with hopium, and hopium's going to come and hit them probably if ETH goes to that area. But then at that stage, no higher high, more realistic high to maybe go and meet. And that can definitely happen. So if we look at this and you're sitting in this area, this is a realistic target for Ethereum to actually go towards. So that is a risk sign, and it's a definite risk that you need to go and have a look at. Should you be involved in anything that's got a liquidation price for Ethereum around that level? If we look at Cardano as an option, as an alternative, what we're getting is we're getting lower lows with a higher high on the RSI. So it's showing you that there is some more volume buying these dips. The last little bit of capitulation supply on this one is being absorbed. Now, this doesn't give you a guarantee that it's over. If Cardano wanted to fail even further, it can probably go to this area. This is where Ethereum already went to in an essence. So that's the situation. But what I like about Cardano is they've been suffering their delivery problems for forever now. And everybody that is weak-handed has already left. And the fact is that this growth was created by people believing that this is going to be the next big thing. And if they leave, only party that's left is the ones that really want to buy up a big volume, knowing that it's going to be the next big thing, or knowing a little bit more. So Cardano does look really good for me. Telos, on the other hand, as well, as you can see, we're making lower lows and the RSI is creeping up. And that gives us that same strong bullish divergence. Now, when you have these strong bullish divergences, these are reversal divergences. So go and look for projects that does something like this, because it's really good. And then on the other hand, Lee, what I want to actually show you today is actually projects where I would want to look to short. Now, I don't know, should we be shorting something? Looking at where we are and what the possibility is for Bitcoin, what would be the possibility of a short working at this stage if Bitcoin has a multi-day uptrend?
Well, the big trend is done. So trend, if you want to trade the trend, I would say you have 70% of chance of winning if you are shorting this market. Now the question is it now? Is it today? Or is it you have to wait a little bit more? Because I would assume that majority of the people out there now are shorting, right? So yes, we have those big liquidation level to go and catch, but they would want to make it a little bit more difficult, I think, for the public or the retail smaller guys like us, to grab a short. So short term, I don't know. Maybe we have. I'm still hoping for short term a little bit of bounce back, and then when we're gonna go and touch those kind of supply lines that you have drawn, so that would be a perfect area to test if there are still some sellers.
That's it, and
because
that's
those big liquidation level, they're not gonna run away. They're gonna be. It's gonna be there for the next month or for
Yeah, if those liquidation levels need to go down, you know how you're going to move those liquidations down? You get a lot of people to give you new money, and that's why the marketing strategies for these guys are still going, like crazy. Get a lot of people to buy, because now you're getting new money to hold to give you more collateral that brings your liquidation level down. So maybe they get bailed out. That's kind of what the banks did in a nutshell as well. Back in when you had the big crash, the Wall Street crash, give us more money so that we can bail ourselves out, and whether that's going to happen. So looking at these charts, short-term scalp shorts, not the area where you would want to short. And if it goes above the stop limit, say, don't worry, it will still work. Treat it as it is at this stage. At this stage, we have a possibility that our Bitcoin long can give us a little bit more. I haven't sold everything. Closed 60%, and that 40% closed 50% of that 40%. That's it. Maybe I sell a little bit more as I go up higher. Maybe I just leave it there. I have the opportunity of choice. That's the beauty of this. Okay. But looking at this now, this is the same setup played in for the shorts. If price moves into this range over here, that would be an opportune moment for you guys, should you want to grab a short. And these would be your short-term quick TP zone, 60% and 50%. So that if the market goes longer and there's big liquidation events and big fear and panic and more people run away, you're sitting in with maybe a smaller position, but that position is going to have distance, which means it's going to make you money. The same now for Joe. Now, Joe is one of those where there's no leverage pair, but it's still in that sell zone. So maybe you bought Trader Joe recently, or you're looking for an area where you can offload something. That sell zone would be ideal for me to start reducing some risk, because then I know if I want a dollar cost average my Trader Joe price down, I can maybe buy some at a different price. So sell 20%, buy 20% back when it's even cheaper. Now you have more Joe for the same portfolio you have, that type of thing. And then here's another leverage setup. This is SNX. Same thing, guys. Same setup. It's looking juicy for a short. So at this stage, it did have a substantial rally to this area. So maybe this one doesn't get full. But if you think about it, people tend to hype into projects that's now literally overnight gone and made 34, 45% again. So if this thing Bitcoin goes to, say, 23, 24, you might sit with a situation where this thing spikes up for a last ditch hurrah into the seller area. That's the area where I'm going to bargain. I'm not going to take it anywhere else. And then should that happen, that would be a really good payday short for us. And then STM, same thing over there. Same setup, looking at the same areas. So let's quickly go through the values for everybody that's maybe listening in. So AAVE, 65, 62, that would be a good area. Stop limit 70. Joe, at this stage, we're sitting at 26, 25 cents. Stop limit at around 28 cents. Let's just round it up. SNX, at this stage, the same situation. Looking at between 3.5 and 3.8, $3.50 and $3.80, $4.47. Wide stop, guys. You're not going to 10x this shit because you're going to wreck yourself. Wide stop. But we are getting to that point where the trend is going to start either become our friend and keeps on trending down, which means this can still go. One can turn to 50 cents. That's a 50% reduction in this thing's value. That's an insane short. Okay. And then the same for STM. We're looking at 0.7 of a cent and 0.8 of a cent. And stop limit at 0.89 of a cent or at 0.86 of a cent. Same thing. There can still be a lot of pain in these trades, so just make sure. Out of everything else, those are the only ones that I'll venture short. All the other ones I don't like. I went through them all. So these are my let's say the best 4 that I picked. Okay, Lee, buddy.
Yeah.
We've looked at Bitcoin. You've given them a bit of a bigger time frame projection. We've looked at some of the way the strategy. We've explained the strategy. We've looked at the way that network effect is a really good thing. But in the end of the day, that same network effect, if reversed around, will accelerate the price down in a similar way if money flees, which gives us an opportunity to see where the good sustainable projects are there that actually has a business model. Because if I'm a car wash, think about it, everybody buys my shares, and the share price goes up. At the end of the day, the car wash revenue still remains the same or fairly the same. The share price doesn't impact my revenue. That's a sustainable business. So you need to look at stuff like that. And at this stage, with the DeFi flush that's happening out, we will have an easy opportunity to identify the good ones. So come the next run, to start investing in those.
Anything more to add?
Has muted himself. And Lee has muted
No.
I hope
I was just
no.
That was one. I've got a suggestion from one of our members on Discord. If you can hear, post your chart on Discord group for us.
You know me. You know me in Discord. I've got a love-hate relationship with Discord, guys. I hate Discord. So the setups are there. The setups are here. You can have a look at it. And I'll see if I can get it onto Discord for you guys. But it's simple enough. Just pause the screen, write them down. Anything else, Lee, that we need to talk about?
On my side, nothing more.
Are we going to call it a
Market
day?
is kind of boring, right? So yeah, let's see if we can go above this 21K or something before we can touch the short.
Okay. Lee, you've got something big that you're still cooking on, and that's the World Series, the Trading World Series. What's up happening there, buddy? Can you give us an update?
Yeah, I haven't looked at the countdown, but I think we still have time, like maybe 17 days. 14 days to register on Bybit for that WSOT. I think we have like 57 frenemies that's gonna trade with us as a team and try to to perform the best as we can and try to get some reward from Bybit. So
yeah, we want a
exciting event. Yeah,
$8 million prize pool.
I believe we have a link in the description below. So if you want to join our CryptoEMC team, then you are welcome to join us. Just subscribe to Bybit and use our link. Join our CryptoEMC team for the WSOT.
And guess what? We are giving, and we are allowed to, we are giving you access to the premium group if you use our link as well. And in there, we are posting setups. We've got a team of traders posting setups. So we're even going to help you scan the market for you. We really want to use this situation or this competition to reinforce the fact that, we are professional traders and we can help you guys become traders as well on your own, to your own right. And therein lies the power. Teach a man to fish and he can feed his family for life. Okay, Lee, thanks a lot, buddy. So links in the description. And if you're unsure, go to the Discord as well. There's a tab there that guides you through everything. So you're more than welcome to go and join that as well. Other than that, when we are training a little bit better, probably tomorrow, we'll do some live trading, Lee. Or are you in the mood for a live trade today?
I'll rather wait a little bit until the market settled after weekend pump. I usually don't trust that much those weekend pumps. So let's see what the market want to do today first, and then we can probably have a live trade during this week. Yes.
Great stuff. So there you go, guys. As always, like Lee, do like Lee and keep hustling, buddy. Thanks for a nice stream. Chat to you soon, probably. And for the rest of you guys, have a lovely morning or afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and keep hustling. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Keep hustling.
And USA is close to there. Well, then, no trade this afternoon.
It's USA. Oh, you see. No trade. Thank you, Lee.
No trade.
Go to the beach and relax if you're in the summer. Apparently, it's crypto winter while everybody else is having summer in the Northern Hemisphere. So take advantage of that.